Marc treats Kenya the way how Kenya used to treat everyone else on this show. So I'm not going to pretend to feel sorry. I'm not. All right, Marc. All right. So even though I kind of saw this coming, I still was like, maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. And definitely we see some potential character flaws, but you're not on the show, so we're not going to nitpick. Kenya is on Real Housewives of Atlanta, so that's who we're going to talk about. So in tonight's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, oh yeah, by the way, my name is Romie Mojo. Please like, comment, subscribe. Kenya. She got on this show. She talked about how her marriage was, how her husband basically didn't like her, how her husband showed affection to the child and not her. And then we saw that for ourselves. So then we were like, wow, this is messed up. But then part of me said, but there's more than one side. This is not a one-sided situation. And I'm glad that I kept that train of thought, because guess what happened next? Guess. You'll never guess. Of course you'll guess. Of course we're not surprised about what happened. Kenya trying to do this whole thing of how he doesn't love her, how he's an alpha male, how she's a alpha female, but in her relationship, she toned it down so that, don't argue because he doesn't fight fair. And then the whole time I'm thinking certain things in my head, because I remember Miss Kenya Moore prior to the baby, prior to the marriage. So, but I still kept it to myself. I kept it tucked away, but not anymore, because guess what happened? Yeah, you guessed it. Marc comes on the show. First off, when he's in Kenya's car, I'm thinking, ooh, the Tesla X is so nice inside. It looks like a luxury lounge. It looks like a luxury airliner. I love it. Can't afford it yet, but love it. Secondly, they're talking about the car, talking about her speeding, talking about everything else under the sun. And I'm thinking, this man looks like he does not want to be here. And I understand, he doesn't want to be on the show. So it makes sense he wouldn't want to be in a car talking about the relationship, talking about on the show, especially if he's not in a good place with his wife. Now, we eventually get to, before that, let's discuss how Kenya jumped the gun, told Cynthia, I think Marc is proposing tonight. I don't know why. For some reason, I feel like people do that. I'm not saying I would do that. I absolutely would not, because you are still ruining a surprise. But I feel like people have done that to other people. I feel like I've definitely seen that where it's like, I think maybe tonight it's happening. Now, again, it's one thing to say that when you don't know. So I understand that people are upset because Kenya knew, because Kandi told her, and then Cynthia went and then Kenya went and told Cynthia. And so then Kandi was upset. Kandi was even saying her confessional, calling Kenya a B. And I'm thinking that Kandi must have talked to Cynthia in length. And the battery in Kandi's back isn't just because of how she felt about the situation. It must be even afterwards how maybe even Cynthia felt. Because Cynthia, prior to this mega triple date situation they had going on, put it out there that she wanted, that she felt a certain way, that Kenya brought up the fact that, hey, I think that Mike is going to propose to you. Now, I hope I wasn't saying Marc before. Kenya, let's get back to Kenya. So Kenya doing that, like I said, I don't feel like it was malicious. I know some people feel like it does because her relationship is in tatters. It's possible it could have been done unintentionally, but that's one of the few things I don't think was malicious. I'm thinking that Kenya was probably like, oh my gosh, something happy is actually going on, and it's going on with the relationship, and I need to be a part of it. I think that's what happened. That's how I feel about that. Ew. Now, damn retainers. Now we move on to this triple date situation where it's Todd, Kandi, and we're not talking about the whole Todd trying to open up more businesses all at once. I'm sure he can do it successfully, but he's had some failures. So I'm sure Kandi's like, we're playing around with more money than we've ever played around with before. Don't play around. We get to this luncheon date situation, and when I tell you, whoever's idea to go and switch the seats for the wives, Musical chairs for the husband. Bravo, because we got some quality content with Kenya and Marc on opposite sides, not only of the table, but essentially of the other ends of the table. We got some quality content. And this quality content stemmed from Marc telling Kenya about herself. I know some people are going to be upset about woo, woo, woo. Oh my gosh, that's her husband, and they're supposed to be united front in public, but then in private, they can hash out their issues. You only do that when you want to work something out with someone. When you don't care and you just want to be heard, you'll say whatever you want to say. And we know that's the exact situation that's currently going on with the two of them. We know that's the actual problem. We know that's the actual issue. And I did not expect him to, I don't think he even wanted to hold her hand. I'm saying, wow, this is interesting. So here goes Marc. He goes telling their business. I don't know whose bright idea it was to go and Kenya thought that she was doing something by having Marc go and explain to the world and to the other guys how she did the proposal, because they talked about how Mike Hill did the proposal for Cynthia. And yes, Cynthia was officially proposed to on the show by Mike Hill. So congratulations. And it was nice. Noel was a part of it. His other two daughters were a part of it. One big blended happy family. Fully happy for them. There's nothing to talk about there. But there is to talk about is how Marc, apparently he had the ring. Kenya got home. Well, actually, she came home, even though he wasn't expecting her to be maybe in New York, but she was there. And so then he just got the ring. It was like, hey, I kind of just gave it to her. I was like, so we're doing this. I said, wait, what? Oh, God. What? This is... Oh. Oh. And Kenya really thought that she was doing something by trying to borderline shame this man for doing the proposal that way. Within reality, you're the one who said yes. You're the one that said yes. You two have been married for 2 years at this point. I think another thing that they argued, well, that wasn't an argument. That was just kind of like a unfortunate fun fact. The main argument between the two of them is that both want their opinions and views to be heard. But here's the thing. I feel like Marc is an energy person. I don't know him, but I don't know how he didn't realize that Kenya's energy and his do not mesh. Why would you propose to someone who the two of you, your energies don't mesh? Because that's what I'm getting. I'm getting that they're two people who should have never been together for the simple fact that they're both kind of on almost the same wavelength. I get a level of pettiness. I get a level of combativeness. I get a level of confrontation. I get a level of nitpicking. And it's funny because Marc does what Marc says and does to Kenya is what Kenya used to do to everyone else. Actually, everyone else is too broad to most people, especially the people on this show. And I could say that almost everyone on the show has had to deal with Kenya more in the vein and in the way that Marc deals with Kenya at this time on the show. Maybe things are better now, but who cares? We don't care because that's not what we're seeing. What we're seeing is what you want to present to us. You didn't want to be on the show, and you shouldn't have brought him on the show, because if you kept him off the show, you would have done so much better because people will have had more sympathy for you. But you brought him onto the show, and because this episode was not a good episode for Kenya. It was not a good look for Kenya. It felt like the old Kenya coming back. And so people lost all the sympathy that they tried to muster up for her. And then they loved the fact that her husband, of all people, the thing that Kenya wanted the most, aside from a child, was going at her and putting the business out there in the street for everyone to consume. Oh yeah, Kenya, you messed up. Kenya, you messed up. Marc, apologies, because I'm not saying you're perfect. I don't know you, so I'm not saying anything about you. that's all I have to give. That's all that I really cared about talking about. Please like, comment, subscribe. I have another channel, Romie Whispers ASMR, where I do ASMR type of content, and I'm going to be picking it back up very soon. And I'll be posting all the videos that I put on that channel onto this channel as well. I don't know why I didn't think to do that prior to, but better late than never is what they say. Okay.